thank you. And when Al Horford came out of that game and was hugging Joe Mazzulla and hugging his teammates, if you weren't crying, then you don't have a soul.
It was a little unseemly seeing you boo because his dad took your seat.
It was really nice, too, to hear Tatum say Al Horford, his favorite player he's ever played with.
Okay.
Like, to hear Tatum say that, I mean, that's all the praise that you need.
Kind of a shot at Kyrie, if you ask me.
Seems like a lot of guys really respect Al.
Yeah,
You know
absolutely.
what I mean?
And I also, Tim brought up good points about Marcus Smart, but Brad Stevens not turning his back, and Wick as well, on Joe Mazzulla after last year's run.
Yeah.
I mean, we were all calling for Joe Mazzulla's job at the end of that, and to stick
Wick
with him.
He was screaming at him.
Yeah, he was. I mean, but you got to credit Wick. And there's no benefit clearly for me to do that, but he had the nuts, or as Courtney would say, the newts, to.
We did figure that out. You guys were all right. I was wrong.
He had the newts.
Yep.
To go to Brad Stevens and say we're making some serious changes here, and it paid off with Banner 18, and could not be happier for that entire organization and for this city. It's been a long 5 years, and there's no city that deserves it more than this one. So
I just wish we could go back in time and erase the 2 weeks of mourning we spent when Marcus Smart was traded.
right.
Well,
But how could you not at that time?
Yeah, because
sobbing from some of the reporters.
Oh my God!
he was like, they made it seem that way. He was like the hot beat of the Celtics, but it really goes to show.
It turned out to be the clogging of the artery.
Yeah, well, it really goes to show that Brad and Wick realized and going, okay, the way Tatum and Brown are as leaders, we can't have somebody come in or be around that his voice is so overpowering because they're not these overpowering voice type of leaders, right?
Yeah.
So when you look at both of them, they're not the type of leaders that, you look at and go, they're very overpowering in the way that they lead. So you can't have somebody who you're creating as that big three have his voice, so much overpowering that they're kind of like, well, wait a second, what's going on here? Like,
Well, I mean, in hindsight, the chemistry was clearly off. And you look at, it's not just Marcus Smart, but you look at the players that Brad Stevens was willing to say goodbye to.
Grant Williams
In
the building last night.
Grant Williams, Denk, Malcolm Brogdon, who else was on that
Rob
team?
Williams.
Yeah, Rob Williams.
Time Lord, you had to say goodbye.
A lot
to
of people didn't want to give up the Time Lord.
Defensive Player of the Year in the NBA. You had to say goodbye. And that takes nuts to do it. So it's credit to Brad Stevens. I mean, and that team. You got to see what happens, I guess, when it comes to Porzingis.
That's the biggest key.
And surgery. You got to re-sign Derek White.
Yep.
And of course, Tatum is looming with the max deal.
Like,
but
that's happening.
You're going to give him whatever he wants.
Your biggest issues is going to come down to a huge part of your team, and that is your center position or your big position. Al Horford's probably going to retire.
You think so?
I do.
I thought he would say it last night. Like I think that it seemed like they wanted him to say it last night.
But I think that's Al being selfless as always,
Yes.
not
Yeah,
making it about him.
So he retires, and then Porzingis is a massive question mark.
Yeah, well, you got to get another big guy.
Oh, you got to get
Yes.
another two.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you can. How many people are going to have confidence going into the season with Porzingis, even though he had an unbelievable game one of the finals, which helped you win, and he played well in game two. I don't think there are a lot of people that are going to have confidence that, A, he can even make it through a season, or if he does, can he make it through a whole playoff run?
This is Chad from New Hampshire, where we will be on Friday at Bernie's Beach Bar, Hampton Beach, for the final road show. Hello, Chad.
Hey, kid.
Hey, kid.
Number 18, baby.
That's right.
Everybody's talking about the Jays, Pritchard, everybody else. How about Derek White? The dude freaking lost a piece of his tooth to the team. Literally kissed the floor. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean,
That was big. Your role players and Derek White and Drew Holiday. The thing that I really love about them as role players, and I think it was a little bit different than when you think of like Marcus Smart or even like a guy like Grant Williams, is they have no problem embracing their role and saying, okay, maybe I might only score 5 points tonight. Maybe I might have a 20-point night, and that's the biggest thing. And I got to give you got to give Missoula a lot of credit to make sure that all of those guys buy in. Because guys can easily be like, nah, I want mine. But Missoula, for making sure that everybody buys in, and then Tatum buying in, and obviously it all falls into place.
That's the chemistry thing that I'm talking about.
It's amazing.
And you got a lot of potential big egos there, and getting them to all buy in is huge. So, all right, Celtics have won banner 18.